get caught up in the flow of life and let circumstances dictate the outcomes. But you can change that. The choices you make today shape your tomorrow. The problem is most people are making unconscious decisions all the time. They wake up, get caught up in the flow of life, and let circumstances dictate their outcomes. But you can change that. You can choose differently. The moment you decide you're going to make something happen, the universe begins to shift around you. Opportunities, people, resources, they all start to line up in ways you never imagined. But there's one more piece to this puzzle. The second part of the secret is belief. You've got to believe that you deserve it. You've got to believe that it's possible for you. If you don't believe you can have it, guess what? You won't. The limiting beliefs you carry about yourself are the chains that keep you from moving forward. You've got to break free from them. And let's be clear, belief alone isn't enough. You can't sit back and hope for your dreams to magically come true. You've got to take massive action. Massive action is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Too many people sit on the sidelines waiting for the perfect moment. Let me tell you, there is no perfect moment. There's only right now. Right now is when you take action. But here's the thing, you will face obstacles.
Woo! Rise and shine, dreamers. Another blessed and grateful day. Super excited to be on here with everybody. I am loving the growth. I'm loving the testimonials, the breakthroughs, the elevation in so many different areas. It is exciting to see you are all on fire, and collectively, we're just warming up. I love to see it. Cedric, JoJo, dreamers, how are we feeling on the Friday? I hope everybody's had a chance to get a workout in, step out on some nature, get some journaling in, take some time to really go ahead and get clear on today. So here we go. Let's go ahead and dive into it. Yes? You already know the events were a blast. And today's topic, fam, is going to be really getting into the 5 basics of success, because you're going to realize success leaves clues, right? It doesn't matter what industry, you're going to notice that these 5 basics, whether it's sports, entertainment, our industry, building a business, all 5 of these basics are going to be key when it comes to really maximizing our life and elevating all of these pillars together. Shane, Talina, Johnny, dreamers, love it, love it. Let's go ahead and get into today. Shane, this is a classic training, you already know, from the legend, Mr. Kevin Trudeau. So if you guys have never seen Your Wish is Your Command, highly recommend it. Go ahead and go on YouTube, do your research, but that is exactly where this information is coming from. It is not something from myself. It's something that we've been tapped in for years, and this is crucial. You know, I've studied some of the top 1% earners in the industry and just in general, and they all follow these 5 principles. So let's get into it. Enough time. We've got a lot going on for today, so I'm going to be in and out for today's topic, and let's get into it. They've even taken it off Spotify. Yeah, right? It's pretty much in. It's pretty rare to be able to find that. So if you do, let me know. But if not, we've got some really good old stuff that you guys can go ahead and tap into that's on the side. So no worries, we got you. But here we go. What's everyone grateful for coming in today? Isn't that funny, right? They don't want the 1% sauce to get out, but we've still got the access. So no worries, we're going to go and pour it in for the fam. Got to lock into, that's right. Yeah, got to lock into the Global Information Network to be able to get it crazy, right? It's exclusive. That's that 33-degree Mason access. So I'm going to pour it back today, family. What's everyone grateful for? Let me know. Let's flood the chat with some great energy, some high vibrations. And we're going to go ahead and get started on the 5 basics to success. This is key. I'm telling you. Always goes back down to the basics. Awesome, awesome. IG, it's good to see you. Happy Friday. Feeling good. Grateful to be alive. Grateful for God. Grateful for the access. Grateful to be on this 90-day run. And you already know we've got about 46 days officially left to go ahead and maximize this second half. This second piece of Q4, love it, love it. Fired up. A lot to be grateful for. Yes, so much knowledge, so much energy, so much wisdom is getting poured into. So it's safe to say we are just getting started. Love it, love it. You ready, fam? The 5 basics to success. This is key. This is coming from, again, Kevin Trudeau. This goes way back, years of information. People have spent tens of thousands to go ahead and really hone in on this. And when you study anybody who's successful, athletes, artists, our industry, and business in general, they all follow these 5 key basic principles. So with no further ado, let's go ahead and dive into number 1. Shane, Talina, who remembers what the first basic key to success is? Let me see. Number 1. This is big. I always love this training. All right, number one is going to be, who do you listen to? Woo! This is crucial. You know, when I was getting out of college and I started looking around at life, I noticed a couple different things, right? Number one, I spent all of this time, all of this money to really start getting to a point where I'm looking at everybody, we're making 10, 15, 20, $25 an hour. There's nothing wrong with that. But I just started asking a lot of questions. 4 years of school, long sleepless nights to get out to make this type of money. You know, I just put up a post the other day, and again, I'm not talking down on jobs, but here's what I wrote. I wrote, it's pretty interesting when you realize that our whole life we've been taught to go work 60 minutes to make $20. Isn't that interesting? Does anybody else find that interesting, or is that just me? So again, I was working, building somebody else's dreams, right? I was a cook in my parents' restaurant, flipping up cheesesteaks, peeling onions, having my eyes freaking drip every single morning. So I know what that's like. But I finally got to a point where I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I asked the question, how long am I going to keep building somebody else's dreams and being too, quote unquote, tired to go and build mine? So enough was enough. I said, whatever I have to do to start actually taking time for myself, I'm willing to cut out the distractions. And that's how it began. I started to notice that a lot of us, we ask the right questions, but we happen to ask them to the wrong people. And that was me. I started getting around visualization, manifesting, right? Really learning how to put things on paper. And all of my friends, right? When I started getting into trading and crypto, we're like, dude, you're never going to make any money. You're wasting your time. I don't know why you're listening to these mentors. Well, here's the funny thing. Even my professor, everybody was telling me, you're never going to be able to be successful. You know what's interesting? Nobody that I was talking to had ever made more than six figures. Nobody. Not even my father. Nobody could actually teach me how to go where I wanted to go. And I guarantee you, for a lot of us, if we look at, you know, a piece of our life, we've probably asked the right questions, but we might have asked them to the wrong people. Drop some threes down below if you feel like you can relate. If you feel like you might have been there once or twice, because that's me. This is a piece of the journey. This happens. But the difference is I started asking the right questions to the right people. My mentor taught me a long time ago, we become the average of the five that we surround with. Well, guess what? My starting five didn't really have goals, didn't really have many visions, and I was starting to fall into the same sphere. So I said, you know what? I need to change who I listen to, because what I'm surrounded on a daily basis is not really conducive to my growth. And I can tell you, when I changed my circle of influence, who I started listening to, I went from coming back home, not really doing a whole lot, not really being productive, to starting to get around to somebody. You know, I've come home and my new roommates, some of them were reading, some of them were listening to audio, some of them were literally taking notes on a Zoom call from who they were listening to. And it's so funny how it's so true. Whatever we surround ourselves with, it kind of rubs off. So I got to a point, I said, you know what? I'm going to start taking notes. I'm going to start listening to audio. I'm ready to start ripping open some books. So it's so funny how when we change certain things in our life, it literally can have a huge ripple effect, but it either goes it goes both sides. It can either be for the positive side, and we've all probably experienced the negative. All right, we've all been there. So when it comes to who do we listen to, this is big. I wanted to find those that had the success, that had the results, that had the spiritual development. You see, when it came to leaders at the beginning of my journey, a leader to me was somebody, yes, they might have had the success. They had the cars, they had the house, they were able to travel. But as I started really digging into the journey, true success to me became somebody's heart. Not just that they've made, you know, phenomenal amounts of income, but what about somebody that's maybe lost it all, gone through hardships, and then they were able to go get it back? You see, they say if you do it once, it's lucky, but if you do it twice, that's a whole different story. Now you've learned a couple of things, you've gained some wisdom. So to me, that became a real leader. Is who do we listen to, right? This is huge. Fire. My fault, fam. Somebody was FaceTime calling me on my laptop. Had to shut it off real quick. Here we go. So the biggest gap between everybody is between knowing and doing. Can you guys hear me? Let me know. Drop a 2 down below. Is it good? Let me know before I go ham on this training. All right, cool. Had to make sure. Somebody was FaceTiming me. Had to block it real quick. All right, my fault. Number 2 is going to be our willingness to change versus our willingness to learn. It's the teachability index, right? It's 2 sides. What is our willingness to learn and what is our willingness to change? You see, a lot of us, we're willing to learn. We're willing to take the notes. We're willing to go ahead and study and read the books. But the difference is who's willing to change. And I know even for me, this is one of the biggest gaps that any of us will experience on this journey is the gap between knowing and the gap between doing. You see? Think about it. Anybody knows how to get a 6-pack. We all know how to get fit. But the difference is going to the gym. The difference is changing our eating habits. The difference is being able to knock out some of the junk food. You see, to know it's easy, but the doing, yeah, that's not easy. That's why they say if it was easy, everybody would do it. So we've all been there, right? We all know that this struggle between knowing and doing. But I can tell you right now, if we can bridge this gap, this is where the magic happens. You know how I started doing it? By setting little goals. Right? We don't just go out and eat 7 apples a day and expect to get healthy. It's eat an apple a day and we can go ahead and start changing something. Same thing with the gym. Just because we go work out 6 times today does not mean we're going to go ahead and get fit. But if we can change and just add in a 30-minute walk, a 30-minute workout, a 30-minute walk in nature, a 30-minute segment of time to go in and walk and talk with our creator, hey, that's willingness to change. 30 minutes to take time to build our brand. 30 minutes to go take time to make a video and talk about our story. You see, that's willingness to change. We can learn it, but changing, I know even for me, is where I really started to grow. At the beginning, did I suck? Absolutely. I was not great at making videos. I used to stutter. It used to take me 30 freaking takes. It still takes me multiple takes to shoot a video. But I know nobody's perfect. Anybody that's going to be looking at on the other side of the screen, remember this, nobody is perfect. So why do we have to be afraid? Why do we have to worry about somebody else's opinion? So this is big. Genius in the building. Johnny, Val, I see you. Let's go. All right, so that's number 2. Number 3, stepping out of the comfort zone. You got to start somewhere. Absolutely, okay? Number 3 is big. This is going to be the training balance scale. If I were to ask everybody, what do you think when it comes to success? What do you think percentage of success is spiritual? Yes, facts. Roy, you're a perfect example. My man literally just took a two-day bus ride to come all the way from Michigan down to Florida just to learn for 2 days. And it was really only a day and a half with the traveling. Then he had to take it ended up taking him 3 days to get back home just to learn for 2 days of mentorship. Let me ask you, would you travel the country to learn from your mentor? Would you invest? Would you take the drive? Would you take the flight? I know even for myself, I've spent so much time and energy and money to invest into myself, into mentors, to change, to be teachable. So I this is not just theory. I've truly experienced this. This is big, right? Number 3, it's going to be the training balance scale. Now, when it comes to success and the spiritual side, physical and spiritual, don't just take my word from it. Go listen to Alex Morton. Go listen to Bob Proctor. Go listen to Tony Robbins. Go listen to Jim Rohn and all of the greats. And they'll tell you success is 90 to 99% spiritual, and it's only 10% physical. And people might be like, D, there's no way. Our whole life, we've been taught a scam. There's no way you can sit here and tell me that success is 90% spiritual. Well, let me prove it to you. The spiritual side of success is faith, belief, gratitude, prayer, journaling, the affirmations, the affirmations, self-talk. Let me know. Can any of us touch any of those things that we just talked about? Can we touch an idea? Can we touch self-talk? Can we feel faith? You see, all of these things are intangible. But if you notice that anything that we see, it had to be built spiritually first. Somebody had to envision literally what this marker looked like, the outside, being able to envision. Look at this. It has a freaking eraser on the tip. Back in 2000, we never had that. We had a whole separate big freaking, you guys remember that? The big rectangle eraser? But then somebody had to get why not make it easier? Why not put the eraser on the same freaking pen so we can just go ahead and write, flip it over, and erase it? You see, that happened spiritually before it ever happened physically. The same thing goes with any part of our life. Building the body, success, relationship with our creator, any of these facets, I promise you, this is how it works. So that's the spiritual side. We're like, all right, what's the physical side? The physical side is things like going to events. It's things like this call. It's showing up in the group chat. It's doing three-way calls. It's networking out in person. All of these is the physical side. But remember, the real chunk happens spiritually before it really happens physically. That's why they say the secret is the feeling. When we change the internal, the outside, external will reflect. It's only a matter of time, I'm telling you. All right, here we go. I'm almost done. I got two more keys for you. The 4 levels of learning. This is big. Ready? 4 levels of learning. When I learned this, I never looked back because you start to see everything goes through these 4 levels of learning. Okay. Number 1 is unconscious competence, which means we don't know what we don't know. I had no idea about trading before I got involved. I had no idea about crypto. I had no idea about my rights. None of these things. I didn't know what we don't know. So there's nothing wrong with that, right? But things happen where we end up building habits. Like, think about it. How many of us might not have known that regular milk is terrible for you? I never knew that. My whole life, I drank regular milk, maybe 2%, but I didn't know that milk is one of the most cancerous liquids that exists. You don't know what you don't know, okay? That's level 1. Level 2 is going to be this. It's going to be conscious incompetence, which means that we know what we aren't doing, and now we start to know that we have some bad habits. You know, I started realizing when it came to success, I used to get up late. I used to sleep in, and that was one of my biggest weaknesses. I would sleep in late. And you know what my mentor taught me? He said, D, if you can learn to start getting up before most people, you can get done before noon, before somebody might do an entire freaking day. Well, that changed my life because when I knew better, I could start doing better. And it didn't happen overnight. I didn't start getting up at freaking 5 and 6 a.m. overnight. But I peeled it back 30 minutes and then another 30 minutes and then 45 minutes to eventually where every single day I'm getting up before 7 no matter what. And that's just no matter if I'm traveling, I'm on a cruise, I'm out, but that is just a part of the routine, but it came with awareness, okay? That's number 2. Stick with me. Number 3, here's the 3 keys right here, okay? Conscious competence. Now, here's what this is. Conscious competence is interesting because now we're constantly working on doing something new and we're learning it. We're learning how to make the videos, right? We saw somebody else do it and we're mirroring it. We saw somebody else actually go out and network when we might have been fearful to do it. I know Rory, literally, he came out here and had a whole paradigm shift. He was so nervous about talking to people in person, but online he's a king. But in person was a whole different story. So when he saw me and Flex and some of the other leaders doing it, he said, man, if they can talk to other people, if they can go out and actually network, I can do it too. Because there's so many out there that are waiting for the value that we have. We just might not even have met them yet. But it could be that one call, that one handshake, that one door we open. Maybe the one person we sit on the airplane. That when we open our mouth, you never know where that can lead to. So consciously working on those bad habits, working on getting up early, working on showing up in the calls and giving energy and showing love. All of these things is stages and levels. And the last piece, number 4, is going to be unconscious competence. Everybody drop down your last name. Everybody drop down your address. You see, you don't have to think about it. You just got it. You know your address. We know our last name fine, right? Surfside. Everybody knows where we live. We know our last name. What if our dreams was the exact same way? If I could ask somebody, yo, what's your goals for the end of the year? You know how many people I ask that question to, and the first thing that goes to mind is, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. But yet we can memorize lyrics of songs and audios, but when it comes to our goals, sometimes it's very foggy. And I started realizing that that's one of the biggest keys on this journey is getting clear on what we want, getting clear on our desires, getting clear on the life that we want to go ahead and design, okay? And number 5, the 5th piece, master the basics. That's number 5. go back and master all four of these basics. And this is from Kevin Trudeau, Bob Proctor, some of the top 1%ers to ever walk. And I've been following this for years. You know, a lot of us leaders on here, we've been tapped into this information, and you already know this is legendary. People pay so much to get access to this, and we have it right here at our fingertips. So family, I'm excited. Happy Friday. I hope you've all had a fantastic week so far. I'm sending over blessings and gratitude for each and every one of you. Nobody told you today. Let me be the first one to tell you on the Friday, I'm proud of you. I see the growth. I see the elevation. I see all of the movement that is happening right now, and it is all just compounding on a daily basis. So get ready, Q4. We are ending this one strong, and we can be, do, and have anything. We can hold it in our mind. We can hold it right here in our hand. I love you, fam. It's game time, and let's go out and turn these dreams into reality. Let's grow. IG